All right, it says we are live. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome to This Week Unloaded. Tonight we have with us, let's see, who was in here first? The Kingpin of Crime, David Bowling. How are you tonight, sir?
I didn't do it. Nobody saw me do it. You can't prove anything.
Okay, Bart Simpson. Next, we had G23 jump in. How are you tonight?
Doing good. Thanks for the invite.
Yep. And then we had from Nebraska, Mr. Travis P11. How are you tonight?
Hey, doing okay, man. Appreciate the invite. Cheap plugs as usual. Check out Caliber Corner. It's a little podcast we do on Monday nights at 6 o'clock Central Time. We talk guns. Anyway, thanks for the invite, man. I appreciate it.
Yep. And then next we had Jason Stewart.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for the invite, Rich.
Yep, no problem. And bringing up the rear was Mr. Pat Hirsch, also from Nebraska. We're being invaded by Nebraskans, folks.
Yeah, we've done it on Sandhill's channel, and now we're invading your little corner of the universe. So thanks again for having me on tonight, Rich, and glad to be here. Yeah, hopefully it's a good discussion tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if you going on the Sandhills, though, is really Nebraskans invading since he is a Nebraskan.
Well, Nebraskans invading Nebraskans, I guess. I should have put it that way.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
I have a one Nebraskan rule at a time. Only one of them is allowed on my channel at a time. I'm joking.
We're too nice for you. That's part of the problem, man. You can't handle that. People get nervous around us, so.
Yeah. Geez, Kingpin, what's going on out there in the YouTube chat? You getting guilt by association here?
I think that I have a pretty good reputation as a level-headed, fair, and honest person. And if that type of person follows Snob, then Snob's got to be good. I mean, come on. I don't understand all this snobism.
Fair and balanced. Fair and balanced. Yeah.
We got Bloke out there in the YouTube chat too. Hey, Bloke, how you doing? From Bloke's 2 Cents, which is ABTC Inc. now. And yeah, Rob, we know you're out there too. We were talking. We've been talking behind your back in here while you're up there. If you want to know what we're saying about you, you got to use that link Kingpin sent you. But then again, you're saying you never got it. And then Mystic's saying Kingpin's lying because he's a snob follower, which is where the guilt by association came from.
And once again, there you go. She's supposed to be my friend, yet she's calling me a liar.
Mm-hmm. And this awkward silence is brought to you by absolutely nothing.
Oh, I thought you were going to go off and do a topic or something, man. I didn't know.
I don't know what. No, I had to mute it because I had to tell my wife something. But Rob says, is it Mario Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo, or Chris Cuomo, or Christina Cuomo that's blocking it? And by the way, in case you guys didn't know, Chris Cuomo, aka Fredo's wife's name, is Chris as well.
Really?
Yes, it's Chris and Christina. I found this out watching Steven Crowder's show this past week.
Interesting.
And she uses a cup of bleach in her bath water, and that's what she thinks keeps the Rona away.
Oh, and crystals. She's one of those new age health nuts. She sells crystals and crap. And she's telling people that that'll help them with their corona.
Oh, yeah, we should always trust our government. So, listen to them.
Nah, probably not.
Oh, no. You won't be trusting the government if you listen to them. You'd be trusting CNN. Now comes the debate of
that's true.
Which one's worse?
That's true.
The government or CNN?
What's the difference between CNN and the left Democrats? Yeah, isn't that the same thing?
Well, no, the Democrats only kiss China's ass. CNN, they work for them.
Two sides of one lip. really, really gross.
Have you seen some of the Democrats? They are gross. But that's a story for another day. Unless you want to talk about the Democrats and how ugly they are.
I'm in too good of a mood to hear about Democrat stuff, so I'd rather stay in a good mood instead of kicking and screaming and stomping. Oh, okay. Well, I got a little something I can rattle off here real quick. Okay, this is to the whole panel.
Related. It's not cow related, is it?
I mean,
No,
I'm
no,
down
no,
for a
no.
limousine chat or something. It's we can go whatever.
Okay.
We'll,
Oh, I could do that too. I've been around a couple of them.
No,
But anyway.
you've done your chase ghost off before. We don't need you chasing bloke off too. Come on.
Well, this one, I don't think we'll chase anybody off,
Okay.
but I guess we'll find out. This will be a seek and destroy kind of thing. Anyway,
This guy's going.
if you had to be okay, you could either A, be locked up in a closet, bound, gagged, and couldn't move, and it's totally dark, with 3 water moccasins, or B, be locked in a room, not bound, not gagged, fully lit, with a chimpanzee that is very curious and holding a live grenade. Go.
Okay, I think we just found out who this jigsaw killer is.
I'll take the snakes.
I'll take the chimpanzee because I could probably entertain the chimpanzee enough to get the grenade out of his hands.
Chimpanzee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll risk the chimpanzee myself.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
snake
mean,
bites are not
What?
snake bites are a pleasant thing to die from. If
The
that
snakes won't bite you if you don't bother them.
Yeah, well, the snakes aren't going to bite you if you're not moving.
No, that's not true.
So
I don't play with water moccasins, so I have no experience in that
I'm not
arena. So I'm gonna let you guys.
I'm not afraid of snakes, but if I don't know, I'm not going to risk the snakes because you got to have a healthy respect for them, and I have a very healthy respect for that venom. Water moccasins are deadly, and if there's 3 of them that are in the room and you don't know where they are, and all 3 decide they're going to get snippy and bite you, I think I'm not going to take that risk.
If
At
a
least
snake bit me, it'd probably kill the snake.
I like the idea of not being able to move.
I look at it this way: if the chimpanzee is going to kill you, it's either going to break your neck because of their immense super strength, or they're going to pull the pin on that grenade and you're going to blow up and you're going to die quickly anyway. So, I mean, it's going to be a much faster death at the hands of the chimpanzee either way than it is at the hands of those snakes.
Okay, so we got 4 for the chimpanzee and 1 for the snake. Okay.
We gonna make a bracket out of this, like which
We could.
challenging situations would you like to have to deal with?
Okay. Well, I'll throw out another one then, since if we're going to do a little bracket here, I'll throw out another one that was rattling around in my brain earlier in the tractor. Okay. Would you rather A, sit down with Hillary and Bill Clinton for a full 3-course meal, or B, be tortured by the Taliban?
I'll take the Clinton for the win there.
Yeah, I think we'll take the Clinton meal also, because at least you're going to get some good food, probably something pork based because of their tie-ins with the pork industry.
And
I'm going to say that I'm highly offended, and I take it as a personal insult that you would talk about Hillary Clinton and the Clinton family in any kind of a negative way. I don't want to be a part of this conversation anymore. You owe her an apology.
Oh, come on, David. We're sorry. We didn't mean it.
It could get worse. I could start talking about cows.
Yeah, no. Then Bill Clinton, from all accounts, is the kind of guy that you can sit down and have a beer with. I'm just saying. I don't know. I've never met him personally, but I've heard people say this before, so I'm going to go with the Clintons.
Yeah, as long as you're not a girl, because that beer will be spiked with something, then you're going to never mind.
Yeah, that's true, but that's okay. I don't fall into that category. Yeah, Rob, take it.
I'll probably take the Taliban. You just said tortured by the Taliban. You didn't say killed by them. So, like, the ones I'd be afraid to kill me would be the Clintons.
Only if you talk about the Clintons. As long as you keep your mouth shut.
Sometimes it's not what you talk about. Sometimes it's what you see.
No, with them it's
Right.
everybody that's been suicided is somebody that they were afraid was going to squeal because they got themselves arrested or they were turned in state's evidence or something along those lines.
Now, let me think about this. Jason made a good point. The Taliban is going to torture you, and it's going to be brutal, like really bad. But if you're hanging out with the Clintons for more than 5 minutes, you're going to see them commit 1,000 felonies. So, I mean, you're as good as dead then. So probably the Taliban.
Yeah. But if you're having dinner with Clinton, you're able to sneak a gun in there, you could take care of the problem right then and there yourself.
I take care of the problem with my bare hands if I have a chance.
Or if you had the chimpanzee from the last question with you, if you took the chimpanzee, option, you could
Pull him out of your book bag and throw him.
You befriend the chimp, and the kittens just pulled the plug on our lamp.
Mm-hmm.
So you befriend the chimp, and then you take the chimp with you, and the chimp will be your bodyguard, and then possibly even your hired assassin because he works for Bananas.
All right, let's have a serious conversation now. Enough of the childish stuff.
Okay, I got one then. Would you rather do 5 minutes in a kiddie pool with 15 piranhas and no way to defend yourself, or 3 minutes in a full-size swimming pool with great white sharks with just one harpoon to defend yourself?
As long as it's not in the dry season, I'll take the piranhas.
Really? Razor sharp teeth going on there, and they start pecking at you and stuff, just tearing you apart? Oh, man.
Here's the thing. Have you ever watched any of the nature shows where they talk about piranhas? Piranhas only feel like that in the dry season. They've actually had, there's a guy, Jeremy Wade, he's a professional angler and right? He did a show on Animal Planet. He was standing in a kiddie pool full of piranhas. Didn't bother him one bit.
Well, you got to get technical. Let's just say they're hungry and either they want to tear you apart. They're ill-tempered. They've been bred to be ill-tempered piranhas because we couldn't get laser beams on top of sea bass. So, it's
Okay, doctor.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, ill-tempered piranhas in a kiddie pool for 5 minutes or 3 minutes in a like a personal-sized swimming pool with great white sharks and just a single harpoon to defend yourself.
Won't fit a great white shark.
Cool.
A great white shark couldn't turn around in a regular size swimming pool. So
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I just hop on the shark's back like SeaWorld, man. Hold on to that fin
there you go.
for
Punch
3
him in the
minutes.
nose like they tell you to do.
The great white is going to be in that swimming pool. They're the one of those types of sharks that have to keep moving. That swimming pool is not going to be big enough for that shark to move. So
it could suffocate or whatever because it wouldn't get enough water past its gills or whatever.
It's going to drown. People don't realize.
Well, you got a good point. It's
You just got to say.
Well, there you have it.
The shark.
Okay. So the piranhas in the kiddie pool
Shark
are going to
polo
win.
rodeo.
Yeah, I mean, if they
I'm taking the great white.
I'm taking the great white. The great white ain't gonna be able to move, and it can't get you as long as you ain't near the head. It can't get you.
How about this one then? Olympic-sized swimming pool. All right, there you go.
The shark still isn't gonna be able to turn around.
Dude, those pools are huge.
Yeah, I know. And so is the great white shark. And if you look at the turning radius of a great white shark, it's not going to be able to turn around in an Olympic-sized swimming pool.
All right.
What if it's a smaller shark?
I think we should resurrect the candy bracket and continue the discussion that we started weeks ago, and start off with the defending champ. The what do we say it was? The egg, the caramel egg. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Cadbury caramel
There
egg.
will be.
The snot eggs?
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
Here we go. Cadbury cream egg, or the Cadbury caramel egg, which won the Easter egg bracket, versus November Rain by Guns N' Roses. If you had to choose one to be gone forever, which one would you choose?
Yeah, Cadbury eggs. Nobody can stand Axl Rose.
No, that would
Cadbury eggs would be gone forever.
No, you just Travis. You're
Mhm.
supposed to pick the one that you want to disappear, not the one that you don't want to disappear.
Yeah, I definitely want November Rain to disappear. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm all about the Cadbury egg.
Okay, so you're
I
voting.
choose a Cadbury.
Okay, so we got one vote for Guns N' Roses. We got one vote for Cadbury. Well, come on, guys.
Oh,
There's
November
two-
Rain. November Rain can wait. You can't beat the Cadbury egg. I can live without one song.
Okay. There's two more guys in here. Need an answer.
Well, man, we all know Paradise City is
November
better. Here's
Rain.
another song.
November Rain is much, much better than Cadbury, and the future lives of this world would be pitifully dull if they didn't have Guns N' Roses. So, the snot egg can just melt and go away.
Okay, so we're tied. Kingpin, you break the tie because I'm not voting.
Cadbury eggs reign supreme.
There you go.
Okay, so yep. But November Rain goes poof. It never existed. And you can blame these guys.
Rock and roll will never die.
You just killed November Rain. Oh no, you didn't. Kingpin.
It's just one song. But dessert lives forever.
Kingpin, good choice. We'll be forwarding the money to you tomorrow morning, okay?
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Okay.
Gotta tell the truth. Cadbury's way better than Axl Rose.
I smell conspiracy theory.
Nonsense. Fake news.
The worst
Doesn't
part
the
is
Cadbury egg come from a bunny rabbit?
Yeah, like a chocolate bunny rabbit or something. Yeah.
No, it's a bunny rabbit. It's a bunny rabbit with he had a basket or something.
No,
Remember
on
the
the commercial
Cadbury-
they had a
Cadbury
rabbit that laid an egg.
Yeah, the old
Yeah,
Oh
there you
Cadbury-
go.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the rabbit.
God, I haven't thought of that in like 30 freaking years, man. That's crazy. Oh, vintage right there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Bunny laid snot eggs. Happy Easter.
Okay. Well, I got one for the bracket here. It's not candy, but we'll throw this one out there anyway, just because I can. Okay. If you could either A, be Jenna Jameson, or B, Pamela Anderson, who would you be? Go.
Neither, because I don't want a dick.
Pat.
I was gonna say I don't really want to choose between those two.
You got some weird things you think about on this tractor, dude.
Pat, you just went up like 100 points in my book, man. That
Listen,
was a brilliant question. I can't.
Pamela Anderson. She's the one that was with Tommy Lee, right?
And everybody else.
Yes, and contracted Hep C.
Definitely.
She's the girl that started the internet.
Yes. Yep. But man, she should have got an Oscar for her role in Barbed Wire. I mean, she was just amazing in that.
Yeah, she should have got an Emmy for when she was on
Dude.
Home Improvement too.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's conspiracy that she didn't
Oh,
get
yeah.
that.
Tool time.
If I had to choose between those two, I'd probably have to go Jack Nicholson, 1976. So yeah.
Pamela Anderson was the original full-time girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was back when she was all natural still. No,
Yeah, that's when she was still Canadian.
yeah,
Was she on Baywatch too back in the day?
Yeah, but the Baywatch was after she got the silicone and some plastic. But on Home Improvement she was all natural still. That was before any of that surgeries.
I've got a question for you. Who wore it better, the pantsuit? Kim Jong-un or Hillary Clinton?
Ooh man, I think Kim Jong Un because he's got that dad bod thing going on, so it fits him kind of snug, but it's still kind of.
And he wears the black, so it's slimming.
Yeah.
You can't tell that he's actually
Yes.
as fat as what he actually is.
Exactly, I do the same thing. Yes.
I'll have to say Hillary because it hides the leg hair.
How do you?
Oh, I like that. Now we got to go with Hillary. Yep.
No.
Just because of the leg
I
hair.
want to know how Jason knows he has leg hair. Is there something you want to tell us, Jason, or no? On second thought, don't.
I heard Joe Biden's grandkids talk about it.
Likely
Well,
story.
back in the day, she used to be for like female rights, and she used to be a big time activist and everything. So I don't think it would really surprise me that much if she wore the pantsuit just to cover up the leg hair. So that's why I had to go that way.
But see, Kim Jong Un's, it covers up his lack of real man hair. So it's the same thing. It's just the opposite.
So you're saying Hillary Clinton's twice the man that Kim Jong Un is?
Oh, dude, she would take him. Are you kidding me? Dude, she'd tear him apart, man. She'd go beast mode on him. She would disassemble him so fast.
Oh yeah,
She'd
You
fly
know what
in
she's
on her
capable
broom
of.
and kick his
I'm
ass.
telling you. Yep.
Yeah, but then Hillary would have to deal with Kim Jong Un's sister, and she's supposed to be she's supposed to be the worst.
Bill Clinton handle her.
Yeah, that's easy.
I don't know, man. I don't know if she's that way. There have been rumors. She might take one look at Bill and throw up in her mouth.
I think that's what he's going for.
Yeah, I checked in with my wife, and she said that Hillary Clinton would probably just tear Kim Jong Un apart, dude.
I'm not talking about because of the drugs and the drink there, Kingpin. If you drug her drink, she's going to go for Hillary and not Bill, if you catch my meaning.
Not to mention that
Okay.
Kim Jong Un's asthma would probably kick in, and he'd have to sit down for like a 1 or 2 quarters and sit it out, and catch his breath and then go back in. So
Well, got good news. Apparently, none of us here on this panel make 7 Wonders sick to the stomach, so that's a good thing.
we can look up some cow birthing pictures if you want to.
We still have time.
No, that's not.
I gotta step up my game tonight.
E-Rock out there says Mike Tyson is making a comeback at 53. He didn't satisfy his need for human ears yet.
Hey, Rich, I just sent you an email.
Oh God, what are you sending me now?
I would like to thank my coach and everything about how am I going to train for when I'm 53.
G23.
Yeah,
Yo.
I've seen that one.
Yeah.
You got Rob D's email, right?
I don't know. I don't think so. Let me look.
Yeah, but I've seen the one that's Yep, I've seen this one. Yeah, I'll share this one, but I ain't sharing the other one.
Could we do like a little on the fly worst handgun? Like which handgun do you think is worse? Like the Remington
Come on,
or
you got to share both of them.
I'm not sharing the other one.
Glock 17.
Yeah. Let people see this one. You guys read
Is that
the
one degenerate?
caption underneath it?
Yeah.
No, you can't see
Oh.
it. Yeah, I've seen
Can't
this one
see
before. Tyler Zed had this one on his channel over the weekend. It's Photoshop on the Kim Jong.
I think it works really well, actually.
It says breaking: North Korean State Supreme Leader Kim Jong Il. And
That had to go with the
Okay.
topic of the pantsuit.
All it's missing is that little tiny mustache under the nose.
Mm-hmm.
No, she's got it.
Does Kim Jong Un?
Hillary dyes her Hitler mustache.
Hitler did, but that's not. But this isn't Hitler's body, so the mustache wouldn't be. That had to be edited out.
Rich, you got to show the other one. The other one is like the funnier of the two.
Tyler Zed's channel is awesome.
No, this when I first saw this picture on the other day when I was watching Tyler Zed's video, I about lost it on his education channel. I about lost it when I saw it. The other one is like, yeah, okay, but there, I'll show it anyway. Maybe some of you'll find it funny. I was like, meh, okay. But yeah, there's that one. Yeah, see this picture. We're just getting tricked. So everybody agrees with me. That one's meh. Okay. We have more comment by the panel for the Hillary as Kim Jong Un in that one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Sorry, G23.
Travis was getting ready to take a few pot shots at some handguns. What was that about, Travis?
I was gonna say, what is there like? Maybe come up with like a pairing of like which handguns we think are worse, you know? And what was like the Remington R51 or maybe the Sky CPX2 or
how many Glocks do they make?
Too many.
They really could have just stopped at 7.
They make one.
Oh yeah.
they make one. They just make it in multiple sizes and calibers, but it's all the same gun.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Let's see. Worst gun. There's so many different contenders for that title.
Ooh, we got the
Travis.
Yo.
Did you get a chance to shoot the Mossberg handgun that came out like 2 years ago or something?
Oh, the MC9S DJMC Square, whatever it's called. No, I never did shoot that. I mean, to me, it looks so much like the Shield or almost like the Ruger EC9 that I just never took. I never got one. No. I just think, you know what? Honestly, the price point on them, they're like $100 more than I think they should have been selling for. So that's why I never bought one.
But they got the Remington 870 safety.
Yeah, this is true.
Oi.
I mean, come on. You got to have a handgun with a
carry gun, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how much more intuitive could that possibly be? You got to hit your safety instead of hit your mag release.
Then I'm training to work through it. Not.
Yeah. Go to turn off the safety and whoop, there goes your magazine. You hit the wrong damn one.
Is Mossberg their own company, or are they owned like by Freedom Group or someone?
No, most of these
are
owned by some huge company. I think Mossberg is I think Mossberg and Ruger are both independent. And even then,
Mossberg is Mossberg.
Freedom Group's not even around anymore. It's now like, God, there's another. It turned into something else, but then they also, they bought Bushmaster, and Remington turned into like the Remington Outdoor Corporation or something, and then it now houses all those little sub companies that were previously a Freedom Group thing. It's like Inventus or something is the company.
Freedom Group became.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all just changing names for tax reasons, and it's a confusing mess. It's like Bushmaster doesn't even exist anymore. That was so in the Remington.
Some of those companies come in and then buy out those companies, and they turn around and sell off their debt and make money off of it.
Yeah, and Para Ordnance or Para USA doesn't exist anymore either because they were bought by Freedom and absorbed into Remington as well. That's why you got Remington make the 1911s now. Those are actually the old Para 1911s with the Remington name on them. They'll be releasing the double stack from Great American Outdoor Shot Show this year too. But I saw him at the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg back in February.
Yeah, it became Remington Outdoor Company Incorporated, and then their subsidiaries, the companies that they absorbed. And look at me, these aren't even around anymore. They got Marlin, Parker Brothers, Advanced Armament Corporation, Tabco. What was it? Bushmaster, H&R, Dakota Arms. I mean, some of the companies aren't even around anymore that were under them.
Parker Brothers, are you talking about the board game company?
No, it's not the same one. No.
I'm about to say, you got Monopoly from Remington.
Didn't Parker make a shotgun or something?
Yeah, it says an American Farms for producing shotguns from 1867 to 1942. But a lot of times they'll buy like old designs. They buy the company so they can get the design plan so they can start reissuing guns or remaking them or making their own versions. Oh yeah, DPMS,
Man,
Bushmaster, DPMS.
but you done spoiled my joke, man.
Yeah, you got the 3030s right next to the copies of Life. You know,
Yeah. I mean, think about it, man. Instead of hotels and houses and Monopoly, now you got Remington green and white box of 9mm for houses and 357 for hotels.
dude, that'd be awesome. That'd be cool.
Oh, dude, you just hit on a new game.
Ganopoly. Ganopoly. You have to try to open up as many gun stores as you can. You heard it here first. Like, yeah, like you get the little sheds that you sell your guns out of, and then you move up to like steel buildings, and eventually you expand to like sporting goods stores and stuff. And
You better trademark that.
Yeah. Hey, Travis, can you forward?
Already got 9.
Hey, Travis, can you forward Squid the link?
I'm already trademarking that idea.
I got it.
Ganopoly. Yep. You have like
Okay.
different firearms
Travis.
for your pieces.
Hey,
Yep.
Travis, real quick.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Travis, can you forward Squid the link, please? I don't have his email. I have his phone number. I have his cell number, but I don't have his email. And if you could forward that link
I'm
for
gonna
me.
come on here and tell us to stop the insanity.
This kind of insanity Squid will be rated home. You know what's really funny? Squid when he's drunk.
He always seems so
After,
tired. He always just seems so relaxed, you know. And yeah,
You weren't in the after chat earlier this week when Squid was drunk.
well, if you've seen his most recent
That
video,
was-
he's
that
been a
was
very
special.
busy YouTuber. He's taking one for the team here, guys. Come on. It's probably just coincidental
remember
that
who
he
was
just
there.
happened to join
Me,
in after
Squid,
he
and
filmed that video.
Me, Squib, and Rob D were in the after chat. I'm trying to remember who showed it.
I sent
It
him
might
a
have been
link, by the way.
Sandhills. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So check your email, Squid. Travis says he sent it to you. If he didn't, that's his fault.
Well,
I
he's
don't
got
think I have
3
Squid's
different email addresses
Oh,
because he's got 3 different
alright.
aliases. So hopefully I sent it to the right one.
Think about it. I might have his email. I don't remember. I find emails that I didn't realize I had. You know, I'll go through my emails. Like, oh, I did have this person's email. After thinking I didn't.
Yeah.
This might be one of those situations. In this business of the YouTuber, you find out, you get people's email addresses and you forget you had it. You know? And it's like, oh, I did have this person's address. I forget whose email it was the other day. I was looking through it. I was like, oh, yeah, I did have this person's email.
Yeah.
But, anyway. So we were thinking, what's the worst handgun?
I got to go with the Lorson
You ever
LC9. That's up there, man.
I was gonna say the Chinese copies of the 1911. You ever see Forgotten Weapons video on those?
No. They pretty rough or what?
Oh yeah, it's actually having instead of actually having a safety or a slide release slash takedown pin, they are machined into the frame.
Oh, damn.
Because apparently the Chinese think they're only decorations. They are bad. If you get a chance, go back and look for that video on Forgotten Weapons. It's a few years old, but they're horrible.
I will definitely have to check that out, man. I didn't even know they do such a thing. That's just wrong.
Yeah,
Are you talking about
they're not the only one.
that little zip gun that's a 22 that's supposed to be like concealed, and it was just like the world, and like 3/4 of it was made out of plastic, and the wrong parts were made out of plastic. It looked like the world's biggest piece of junk.
No, I was talking about the Chinese 1911, where the safety and the slide release are machined into the frame. They're just there for decoration.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about now. That they're, I can't remember who makes it, but they only made it for like a year. It was called like a zip
This is
gun.
a Chinese.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but the one I was talking about, they're Chinese copies. The Chinese, I mean, they look at it in 1911 and they're like, they had to have been using a picture because they couldn't have had an actual 1911. You know what I mean? They had to be going off of just the picture. They couldn't figure out what it was, so they just machined it into the frame.
Rich, I'm going to bail on you guys a little bit early, man. I do apologize, but you guys have a good night, okay? You guys all take it easy.
Later, Travis.
Yeah, see you guys. We'll talk to you later.
Later, Travis.
All right, have a good one, Travis.
All right, peace out.
Yep.
And
Okay. Yeah, I knew it. I know which one you're talking about now. It took me a minute to think about it, but man, that was a pile of junk.
that's how you unite.
Holy crap.
Yeah, how you unite, Squid?
I'm doing pretty good. It's nice weather here in Michigan, so I can actually sit on my back deck and not freeze.
It's always a plus. Here it's raining all day and it's supposed to rain all week, which is lovely.
It's supposed to get cold starting tomorrow for the whole week, so still can't plan too much for outdoors, like working on the garden or anything, because you put it in, then you get a frost and it kills it, so it's pointless.
Yeah. Well, they're worried about all kinds of flooding happening here. So
Yeah, but you're at the top of the mountains. Everything washes downhill. That was a valley?
Valley.
Dang.
Yeah, that was a valley. Don't you remember? Because on one side there was a hill on one side, and the other side you had the hill that had all the wind turbines on it.
I don't remember the turbines.
Yeah, like when you turned into the road where I lived at, if you looked up on the hill up there, behind the complex.
I didn't look up. I was looking straight ahead at the homeless-looking guy loitering in the parking lot. Oh, wait, that's Rich.
Uh-huh.
The guy carrying the cross on his back. Band and them singing too.
Yeah, apparently we got a guy walking around town here dressed like Christ carrying a cross on his back.
Is he trying to make a statement?
A picture.
Nobody knows.
Find a picture next time here.
Yeah. But
He's been doing it since Easter.
yeah, my wife said he's been doing it since Easter. And maybe he's just a fanatic, I don't know.
Bam told me he was at Burger King, like walking Tucker like 3 times. I'll be right.
And he's walking all over town. I mean, he's not just staying in the main part of town. He's been you remember where the Burger King is? He's been all the way down.
No, I mean, he's protected under the First Amendment for that, and unless he lays down in front of the freeway or something.
Yeah, he hasn't hurt anybody or tried to assault anybody or anything. So, you know.
We just can't figure out why he's doing it.
Anyway, anybody else got any contenders for worst handgun ever?
Smith & Wesson SDVE 9.
It ain't that bad. There's worse than that. Come on, you can do better than that, Jason.
You already did the Sky, right?
SDVE 40.
No, we haven't done Sky. We've done worse than we've done worse than Sky. Yeah, you really got to put your thinking cap on for this one. I said the Chinese 1911 copies where the safety and the slide release are machined into the frame, and Pat said the zip gun where parts are made out of plastic that shouldn't have been made out of plastic. So you got to really put your thinking cap on and come up with something worse at this point. And the Sky ain't going to cut it. You got to come up
I was
with something
trying to think of the
worse than that.
worst shooting gun I've ever handled.
Southern Wonder says the Jennings J22. Yeah, they're pretty bad.
What about those die-cast metal German revolvers? What were those called?
Oh, I don't know. I legitimately don't know.
Okay, I got another one. The Mosin Nagant pistol.
There was such a thing?
Yes.
I think he's talking about.
Oh, the 1895 Nagant revolver.
Yes. My buddy bought one, and he knew I was into Mosin stuff. And he says, "Hey, man," he says, "you got to try this out." The revolver, the cylinder actually goes forward when you shoot it, so it's supposed to be like against the barrel. Man, you want to talk about this one had never been shot, never been out of the box. He cleaned it up, and I wouldn't have put that in the hands of anybody. Holy crap, what a piece of junk.
The Russians used those in 2 world wars.
Yeah, you would have been.
True story.
Yeah, and that's what's scary, because I don't know how you would hit anything with it. Because man, even at 20,
and another war with the Japanese, a war with the Japanese before World War II. I mean World War One, or was it World War II?
The Russian Sino War. Russo-Sino War.
Yeah, the Russian Japo War or whatever it was. Maybe it was. But yeah, I'm trying to remember. Was that before World War One or World War II?
I thought that was before World War One. I thought.
Yeah, it might have been. There were so many damn wars around World War One and World War II. You had the Winter War between the Soviet Union before World War II. And there was a whole bunch of little wars that eventually blew up in the world in different areas. It's like crazy. Italy was at war in Africa before World War II.
According to the
They were
internet,
fighting the Ethiopians.
August 9th through September 3rd, 1945 is when the Russians and the Japanese were fighting.
No, there was
a war.
That was at the end of World War II when we asked the Russians to put pressure on the Japanese. Prior to that, they had sort of backed off the Japanese. They kind of like held them at bay because they didn't want to fight a war on 2 fronts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there was a full-blown war between the Soviet Union and Japan.
I think it was
before that.
the Russian Empire. Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been.
And
Yeah,
I thought
if it
there
was
were
before World War One, it would have.
wars between them, and they were short wars. Or was that China and
Yeah.
Japan? See, you're right. Yeah, there's so many little wars going on. It's like, was it Russia and Japan, or China and Japan, or did Russia and Japan go to war once, and then China and Japan went to war twice, right before World War One or something?
Yeah, but it's hard to keep track of that sometimes because there was that whole area. There were wars all over the place. You'd have Thailand invaded one of the countries back then. It was crazy. It was that place was a firestorm just waiting to explode, and it finally did in World War II. And then you had Korea and Vietnam after that. But if you look at Southeast Asia and whatnot, that place was a powder keg waiting to blow for decades before World War II started. So, yeah, I mean that was a crazy period. That was a crazy area to be in. Anyway, what the hell were we talking about before we got?
That you're going to wash away.
Oh, the Nagant revolver.
Worst handguns.
We're talking about the Nagant revolver. There's a reason why that cylinder moved forward, and that was to combat the cylinder gap so that you didn't lose pressure from the gases escaping out the side of the cylinder.
Right.
That was why that was done. And the Nagant revolver is the one revolver that you legitimately can put a suppressor on because it does not have the escaping gases out the side of the cylinder.
Well, I just know from the one that I shot, man, it was a piece of junk. And it, like I said, he literally had the box and the wrapping and everything when he got it. And I went over and looked at it, and then he cleaned it up within the next couple of days, and we shot it.
I guarantee.
Oof. And I'm a Nagant fan.
I don't know if you would have had it original. What kind of box was it?
You know what? Honestly, I can't remember. It just looked like it was like in some kind of old. It was like a kind of a faux wood crate kind of thing. Not real thick wood, but it was like in a kind of like a wooden box, and then it was wrapped and cosmolined and just. We looked down the barrel and everything on it and lit it up, and I mean, it slugged fine through the front and everything, and it never looked like it'd ever been fired at all. No barrel pitting or anything like that. But I don't know, and maybe that was just that one that didn't shoot straight for nothing. But man, it's.
He may have had one of the Soviet-built ones. The original, they were actually built in France for the Russian Empire.
Yeah. Was it France or was it Belgium?
That was the same.
France.
Okay.
It was France. They were made in Liège, I believe. And so were the Mosin rifles. The original Mosin rifles were also French construction, and then later the Russians started making them under license.
Yeah, and I think his was late World War II. So that, and it might have been a rush production too. The tolerances could have been way off. Just like when they first started getting them out of France, the tooling on it was really nice. The barrels were finished really good, and the early ones actually had the hex receiver on there and were really good looking rifles. But, then once you get into 42 or 43 on, where the barrels are just really roughly machined on the outside.
But you keep talking about the rifle and the revolver, and you're kind of crossing over. Which are you talking about?
Oh, I was just talking about just from when they started, like just on any of their guns, on any of the Nagant guns, to later, how the tolerances and everything, might not have been as good. as in the beginning, when they first started building the guns and stuff. So that's all I was just trying to reference on that part.
And you gotta remember the later guns in both the Mosin Nagant and the Nagant revolver. That would have been back when the Russians were putting them out so fast they didn't time the quality.
Yeah, you're talking about 19th century designs, and they're trying to mass produce them as quickly and cheaply as possible in 1940s.
Right. And that's all I'm saying. I think his revolver was a later one. And that's why it didn't shoot nearly as good as, like, let's say, the ones that were originally contracted out of France when they first started building them.
Oh, that's beyond. Yeah, but to be honest, the Nagant revolver is not looked at as one of the best revolvers ever produced either. They had a really heavy trigger on them, and there was other problems. In all honesty, the Russians would have been better off sticking with their number 3 top brakes than going with the Nagant revolver. And there was a double action conversion that was made of the number 3 that was made to compete with the Nagant revolver, and somehow the Nagant revolver still won the trial. So there is that. At the number 3 Smith & Wesson top brake that the Russians had, that they were producing themselves by that point in 44 Russian, was superior to the Nagant revolver.
Gotcha. I couldn't remember what other revolvers they had at the time, but you said it was actually a brake, the number 3 top brake.
Yeah, they had the number 3 top brake in 44 Russian, which was very similar to 44 Special. It was just a little bit weaker than 44 Special. The case was just a little bit shorter, but ballistically it was very similar.
Okay, gotcha. I'll have to look into that. But you said that was after, what design was that after then, Rich?
Which one, the top brake?
Yeah.
That was a Smith & Wesson number 3 top.
Okay, all right. Cool, I'll have to look at that one.
And those revolvers, Smith & Wesson started making those revolvers in 1870. The Smith & Wesson number 3 predated the Peacemaker, and in my opinion, it was the superior revolver of it. I would rather, if I was going to carry a revolver back then, which if you're going to carry a handgun, that's what you would have had. At that point, it would have been a Smith & Wesson, either a number 3 or a Schofield, which the Schofield was a modified number 3. Major Schofield did when he went to Smith & Wesson with his idea for it. He basically took the number 3's catch and moved it from being top mounted to being mounted to the frame, and made it easier for cavalry to actuate it with one hand, because you could just hit. It was a lot easier to hit the brake action with your thumb with it on the frame than being top mounted on the top of the frame above on the back strap, like what the number 3's was. That's basically the one change that Schofield made, and he changed the grip a little bit, the grip angle on it.
What?
Those were. Oh, good.
Wasn't there another top brake back then that was not necessarily mass produced like the rest of them? Wasn't that a Webley? If I'm remembering,
Webleys were mass produced. They had different models, and they were chambered in different calibers. They made some changes. Pre-World War One, World War One, and then in World War II as well. I mean, they even had the semi-auto Webley, which was kind of interesting. Was that Webley Fosbury or something?
Yeah, those were in 455.
They also had that 38-200. Yeah, I think that's the one Snob's got, right? His is chambered in 38-200.
His
Oh no, that's Enfield. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and you know what? You set them next to each other. I can't tell the difference.
Okay, well, because that's the one I was thinking of was the Webley, and I always thought those were kind of cool looking old guns.
Yeah, the number 3 are cool looking too. If you've ever seen the number 3 of Smith & Wesson, they're pretty decent. They got a cool look to them. They don't look like what the other revolvers in the West look like. When you think so, you have a different look to them.
Yeah, you don't
And
see
the-
too many.
And the reason why and the number 3 was originally chambered in 44 Henry. The reason being was they were made before centerfire cartridges really started taking off. So what you had was the 44 Henry cartridge to put in them, which was a rimfire cartridge. And then when they made the conversion of the 44 Henry to a centerfire cartridge, it was, I don't know if they still call it the 44 Henry or not. I don't
It was
remember.
4440.
4440 is more powerful than 44.
Yeah, it's more it's more
not the same
powerful,
cartridge.
but that's when they were converting 44 Henry rifles over to centerfire. They were chambering in 4440 when they were doing the.
No, I'm talking about this round was specifically for the number 3. The 4440 wouldn't fit in the Smith & Wesson 40 number 3 until they started making them in that caliber. They originally were making them in 44 Henry still, but with a centerfire cartridge. It was still, and then later on, once they had the 4440, they converted it.
Not the 44 American.
Number 3.
That was later on, right?
No. Yeah, that was later on. That was a little bit later on, yeah. Because these were still what do they call it? Where the bullet's the same diameter as the case. You know, like 22 rimfire. These were still made that way. But so was the 44 American. The 44 Russian was wasn't a heel bullet. They were heel bullets. The 44 Russian wasn't. The 44 Henry and the 44 American, they were both heeled bullets. It might have been the 44 American that they started calling that. Now I think about it.
Now, was the American
But anyway,
the 429 or was the Russian the 429? I can't remember because there's some sort of disconnect there because a 44 Special and 44 Magnum are .429 diameter.
Right. Well, so is the 44 Russian. The 44 Russian was basically precursor to the 40 Special and the 44 Magnum, lineage-wise. Because the Russians didn't want. It was because of the Russians that they started making the non-heel. Smith & Wesson started making the non-heeled bullet in the centerfire, and that's what led to the 45 Colt and 4440. Because none of those were heeled bullets. Those were all the diameter. The case diameter was bigger than the bullet diameter. So you got the 44 Russian to thank for that. That was the first bullet, if I remember correctly, that wasn't a heeled bullet in self-contention. And the reason why Smith & Wesson was able to make these developments is because they owned the patent for the bore-through cylinder. They were the only ones at that point in time until it expired. I think it was in 1872 where their patent finally expired. And then you had Colt and Remington start jumping in the game too and producing the 1873 single-action Army, aka the Peacemaker. And then 2 years after the Peacemaker, Remington came out with their 1875, which was basically a centerfire conversion from the factory, or upgrade, if you will, of the 1858 new model Army that Remington had. And they looked almost identical. There was just minor cosmetic changes between the 1858 and the 1875 Remingtons, other than the fact that one was a cap and ball and the other was, self-contained cartridge. But yeah, that all started because Smith & Wesson had that bore-through still, and then the Russians, when they ordered their number 3s, they specified that it had to be done a certain way, and that's where your non-heeled bullets came from. In your handguns and rifles was the Smith & Wesson number 3 Russian in 44 Russian caliber.
Huh. I'll be danged. Okay, so let me throw this out to the panel. Maybe somebody's got some experience with this. I've got a modern black powder 36 caliber revolver that really does shoot good. You know, I finally got onto the load and everything and figured out exactly what it liked. An old cap and ball. I've seen the conversion kits for those that you can buy and actually start running center fire cartridges in the cylinders and be just fine. Has anybody had any experience with that, converting one of those old, even a modern or old black powder to a center fire, just so a guy can shoot a little easier and put a little more rounds downrange, just to have a little more fun with it?
I looked into it. I looked into converting my Walker to a 45 something. It was still a black powder cartridge, but it was like a really high power cowboy load, and went looking for somebody who could convert it. And the research I did said that it just wasn't very safe to do. And I thought about it, and I said, you know, there were conversions done back then, like the Masons Richard conversions, and a few other companies were doing conversions back then, because not everybody could afford a single action army or something. So there, it was done. And EMF and Cimarron and a few other companies make or have the Italians make replicas of those that fire like 38 special and whatnot. For me, I like even though it's a reproduction, it's not 100% accurate, but it's very close. I like the historical accuracy of the cap and ball, and I wanted to keep it that way. So if I wanted a cartridge firing gun, I would just get a cartridge firing gun. I mean, you could, try to get a drop-in cylinder, but there's something about the back plate on there that always looked a little janky to me. And I know Ruger makes one that is designed to switch back and forth between the two. I checked with my state laws regarding that, because here we have a handgun registration. And once I change it out, I would simply have to just go down to the police department and register it. But as long as I keep it cap and ball, I don't have to do anything with it. What your state law is might be different, but I don't know. It's kind of like I remember somebody was telling me they're going to get a 22 long rifle conversion kit for a handgun, and it was $400 for the conversion kit. And they sold that same handgun in 22 long rifle for $400. And I'm like, dude, why don't you just buy a second handgun? So, I mean, I don't know.
In Maryland, you can do the same thing, and you don't have to classify it. A friend of mine's father bought, I'm pretty sure it was the Ruger, and it was 45 Colt black powder. And it's just, go in, sign, and buy, just like any other black powder gun. Then you can buy the cylinder conversion kit right there without any kind of license or anything, and put them together, and then technically have a legal modern firearm without having to go through a background check. But it's going to be in a caliber like a 45 Colt, like his is.
One thing is, you want to run black powder through there. If you go to buy black powder cartridges that are made commercially, you're going to be surprised at how much more they cost. Or a smokeless powder load that is toned down so it matches the pressures on a black powder load. They do sell cowboy action ammunition, and it's lead cast, and it's low pressure, so you don't damage the firearm. You could load your own. If you're into reloading, you can load your own, but with black powder cartridges, you don't want an air gap between the powder and the base of the bullet. You have to have stuff packed in there. You do not want an air gap. Whereas with smokeless powder in a modern cartridge, you can have, you can shake the cartridge. You can hear the powder shaking around in there, and that's perfectly safe. So that's something else to consider, is if you convert it, you've got to use black powder cartridges in there, unless it's that Ruger, because I believe that's designed for it. Now, if you buy a replica, like a replica, 1873 single action army or something, you can run smokeless powder rounds through there. You can run, modern ammunition through that. But these percussion revolvers, if you convert them, you cannot run smokeless through there unless the charge has been brought down really low.
Right, and I don't actually. Mine is a reproduction, so it's actually there's a conversion kit out there, and it was like for I think I picked the cap and ball gun up originally for like $375, and it's Italian. I remember that it the name.
They all are. They all
company
are.
starts with a P.
It's Pieta. Yeah.
Okay, well,
It's Pieta. Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Even if
Yep.
you buy a Colt,
Pieta.
you buy a Colt black powder revolver, it's made in Italy. They're all made in Italy.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yep.
I just seen the conversion kit out there for $200, and it was a modern reproduction. And I saw the ammo and everything that was supposed to run through it, and I was like, "Well, I really don't know that much about it." So it's like, maybe I'll ask somebody that if anybody's had any luck doing that, or
I
has
wouldn't put
tried
38
it and just
I wouldn't
didn't
put
like
38 specials in it. But if you buy a reproduction Mason Richards conversion, you could run 38 specials through it. I mean, when I say 30, I mean with modern smokeless powder. You know, so
Right.
I mean, like
Right.
MagTech makes
Gotcha.
cowboy action loads. They work pretty good.
Yeah, you want to stick with cowboy action loads. Buffalo Bore makes a good one. MagTech like squibless cowboy action load, but that's basically what you want to stick with it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, just wanted to ask, see if anybody had any toying with that ideas or had played around with any of that stuff before. So, because I like it as is, don't get me wrong. I love shooting black powder every once in a while, but just didn't know if anybody had
with
any.
black powder, it's slow to load and it's a pain in the butt. If you don't have the patience, you're not going to enjoy it. If you don't like the historical aspect, you're not going to enjoy it. If you're like, I got a gun and I didn't have to fill out a 4473, and then you start shooting it and you see all the issues that come along with it, you might go, well, this wasn't a great idea. But because I know that's the attraction for some people. It's not about the shooting it or trying to get the feel for the 19th century or whatever. It's like, I didn't have to fill out a piece of paper. But then they find out it's slow and all this. Now, there are different things you can do to speed up the reload process. I mean, they've got paper patch bullets you can put in there. They've got little cappers that you can put the caps on faster. I mean, there are ways. You can change out cylinders.
Yeah, especially with the Remington, the 1858 Remington, that thing is so auto.
It ain't that fast, man.
And for the 18th century, 19th century, it was.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, when I try to change them out, it comes out fast. It don't go in very fast. I need to work on that.
It's faster than the Colt. Yeah, the Remington's faster than the Colt. The Colt's more involved with changing the one than Remington. For the 18th century, it's the 18th century equivalent of changing your magazine in a modern. Is what I was trying to say. I'm not saying it's as fast. I'm saying it's the equivalent. Yeah, the Remingtons do change faster than what a Colt.
I see we were joined by
Personally, I want.
New York Outcast.
Oh yeah. Well, we were discussing the other stuff, and even noticed Rob sneak in.
Yep, you left the door open. Snuck in. You know how it goes.
He came in the back door.
Yeah.
Window.
It wouldn't even let me reply.
So you got any?
You sent me, Rob. Like I used the same email address that I sent you links before and whatever, and I guess they just didn't send. And then when you sent me one, I tried to reply, and it wouldn't send. And it still hasn't come across my laptop, just on my phone.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's on my end. I'm having some type of issue somewhere, I guess. But then G said that the email didn't work, so I might just have the wrong email address for you now.
Maybe it's possible. It's a possibility. Yeah, I don't know much about the black powder guns or anything like that, so I was just being quiet on that aspect of stuff. So no idea. Seems like in my state, I'm pretty sure if you were to do that, as soon as you put it together, you'd be looking at a felony as soon as somebody found out. So I wouldn't advise it in New York anyway, at least not during modern times.
So, black powder cap and balls are susceptible to the same laws in New York as regular handguns. What you're saying?
No, I assume you could probably order a black powder handgun through the mail or whatever, like you could anywhere else. But as soon as you were to transfer it to take an actual modern day cartridge, that would probably be considered modifying a firearm in New York State or something like that. So, or creating a firearm. I'm sure they'd probably have 5 different labels for it, but every
federal laws are illegal to do.
In my state, everything's got to be permitted. You got to have a permit just to have a firearm. So even though I have one, say I built one, it would still probably be an issue because you pretty much got to get clearance first. So, and then it has to be put on, like, serial number printed on my permit before I can actually take possession of it.
So in Michigan, you've got to register handguns. And with a black powder revolver, there's no registration because it's not considered a firearm, blah, 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 right? But it still has a serial number on it from Uberti or Pieta. And even though you don't fill out a 4473 or whatnot, there's a serial number on it. If it was ever stolen and recovered and you needed to make an insurance claim, you've got your proof, blah, blah, blah. But if you convert one of those over, the Michigan State Police just require you to use that serial number as for identification purposes, and then you just fill out the make and caliber and barrel length and that sort of thing. And you just go down to the police department and do it. They're not going to oh, you converted that before you walked in here. You're going to jail. They'd be like, all right, just fill this out, write this down. All right, have a nice day. See you later. So it's not that big of a deal, but when I called up to Lansing to ask about this, the guy goes, nobody's ever called and asked me that. Let me get a supervisor. And he had me on hold for a while. And he comes back and he goes, yeah, that's since the gun has a serial number, even though it's not recorded by the BATFE or anything like that, that becomes your firearm serial number for the purposes of the R whatever form it is that we fill out for our registration. So maybe New York's got something similar like that, where they would just use that number that the Italian manufacturer stamped into the firearm.
Possibly. I would definitely check with my county before I did so, just to be safe, though, because they are kind of funny here. So, that doesn't take much at all. So, and obviously, I wouldn't want to go in and have an issue. So.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you're compliant with state laws and everything, because you live in one of those goofy states.
I can't even borrow a gun, a handgun from somebody else in this state, like to review it or something like that. I can't do that in my county. Not without having it transferred and put onto my permit. I could shoot a friend's gun at the range or, with him there or something like that, but we can't swap guns because he's got a competition or whatever's coming up. So they don't allow that for some reason here, even though you're both legal, gun owners.
See, here
it's crazy.
We can do that. Like if you have the HQL, the purchase permit in Maryland, then I can let you borrow my gun or leave you alone at the range with it. But if my friend is with me at the range and we're on the rifle side, he can't take my handguns over to the pistol side without me. So I definitely can't leave him at his house or let him go hunting with him. If he's going to use a pistol, we can't use pistol to hunt in Maryland anyway. But as long as you got the little stupid card that says you're allowed to buy guns, then you can trade guns and stuff like that temporarily. It's different for rifles. You can do whatever you want with a rifle.
in New York, you can loan, long-term loan rifles if you want or whatever, but can't sell or gift them without it running through an FFL.
Yeah, we just ducked the private sale background checks, but I don't know if we're gonna. I don't know how many times we're gonna avoid it. Sooner or later, it's gonna hit us.
So, do any of you guys think that in 2 years, Classic Firearms is going to have a bunch of used Canadian AR-15s for sale?
I hope so.
No, they can't.
They'll get confiscated at the end of the 2-year amnesty, and then I forgot the guy's name already. He's a jerk, anyhow. No, the guy who owns Classic Firearms, Ben.
Yeah.
Ben freaking calls up Trudeau and goes, "Hey Ben, or hey Trudeau, I'll buy 9 semi-trailer loads of them used guns off you real cheap, and he gets them for like $5 a gun Canadian, and then he sells them on Classic for like $450 each, and they sell out in the first 5 seconds."
There's a lot of Canadian gun broker. Yeah, good luck with that. Getting them across the border.
There's going to be a lot of angry Canucks up that way.
1,500 different guns banned by name. I mean, that
Are
is
they
crazy.
compensating for those firearms or doing anything? Or are they just
Yeah, I thought he
expecting-
said that they'll compensate him for it, but they didn't have something worked out on that. And there's a 2-year amnesty, so it's not like you got to turn them in tomorrow. So they're still trying to figure out how they're going to pay them back for it. But you've got 2 years to do it. But in the meantime, in those 2 years, you can't even leave your house with it.
Wow. I bet there's a lot of people
Yeah,
hoping
some of
it
these-
change within the 2 years, I would assume. So, I can't speak for the average Canadian, but people in general, I doubt people are just going to voluntarily hand things over. Yeah, some may, but
And
most
some
people, I
people-
think they'll just disappear.
If you look at yeah, good luck with that in Canada.
I don't know.
hopefully
It
that's
happened in
jail faster than
Australia.
you can blink.
They've had amnesty amnesty after amnesty since their ban, and they still cannot account for a large number of guns that should have been turned in. So people have hidden them, buried them, done whatever, just sat on them for decades, probably forgotten about. People have died off, and there's a gun buried in the backyard. Nobody knows.
That's
This
what
could be
people done in
straight
New
Yeah,
York.
I don't know if they're gonna. I see a lot of people getting fined in Canada. Maybe not in prison, but I can see some people getting fined. You didn't turn in your gun. Here's a $10,000 fine.
Hey, this is what you can do with your fine, eh?
No, I mean, how do you have any respect
It's
for
gonna be
Canadians that when they elected somebody as soft as Trudeau?
Did you notice that about him too? It's like if he threatened another country, they'd just be laughing and laughing and laughing. And I mean, he could threaten the tiniest country in the world, and they'd be like, "You got to be kidding me! This is your leader."
He doesn't look like the prime minister of a country. He looks like one of the
Yeah, but
freaking
did you
monkeys.
hear the way he talk? He's so soft, and he's so. It's like, look, you ain't got to breathe fire when you talk, but talk with some authority, dude.
He could be the new Davy Jones if the monkeys decide to get back together.
I never thought about that, but you hit the nail right on the head there, Rich. He does look like Davy Jones from the Monkees.
Yeah, but the problem is the monkeys had a successful
He's even got the haircut.
for a little while.
But have you actually seen some of the things that are on the list of the
Hey,
1,500
can we have their
that they banned?
SVT?
One of them is the.
Can they ship those over here? Can they? Can they?
I don't know if those were on the list.
You know, it would be the most amazing.
I went through the list. I don't remember.
If Donald Trump tweeted that,
And it's a long list.
that we'll buy all your guns from you at half price.
Put me on the list for a TT-33.
Yes. There's no handguns. It's all rifles.
Crap.
By the way, I mean, not all. I shouldn't say it's all rifles. There's no handguns. It's rifles and rocket launchers.
Anybody got Trudeau's email? Dear Prime
Put me
Minister
down for two
Trudeau,
rocket
a Russian
launchers.
TT-33 handgun is a military weapon. I think you should include this and sell it at a really low price to your American neighbors.
You know, I'm at fear for my life because
I mean,
guns are on the streets of Canada. I'm right there with you, Squib.
Yeah, there's literally freaking guns on that list that you wouldn't think that you would have thought would Canada may have already banned. You know, there's rocket launchers on the list, automatic grenade launchers, single shot grenade launchers. You know, things that the way gun laws are already in Canada, you thought may have already been banned, that apparently
Now,
weren't.
Biker Bob said that.
Whoop! Lost a mid sentence.
Biker Bob caught his feed.
No one never knew what Biker Bob didn't want you squealing
I
on
hit
him.
the wrong button. Yeah, Biker Bob said in Canada you could have a gun mailed to your house. Not like here where you've got to go to an FFL and fill out a form. So it's kind of weird. You know, they had certain laws that are like there were guns that could be imported into Canada that we couldn't import here in America. But there were a lot more guns that you could own in America that you couldn't own in Canada. So it's really kind of weird. Like they don't have the law about having milsurps imported with the safety added to them and stuff like that. So somebody might go, "Oh, I like Canada's laws better," but look what happened there. So.
Yeah, they're having to have a manual safety put on the handgun or firearms being imported is really ridiculously stupid.
For the historical
Remember,
value of it, if you're looking at a CNR and you really want it to be historically accurate, having that safety takes away from that. But
unless you get those Udos that have the trigger dongle like the Glock, where then you get the original trigger and swap it. I mean, then you have the original trigger in it, and without the safety and everything. But other than that, I mean, if you get a Romanian, a Russian, Chinese, whatever, they all have the stupid safety on them.
I mean, so far, every one that I've gotten, the safety actually does function. But, it's like, it's not that big and gaudy and stuff like that. But, if you're going for collectability or the most accuracy, historically, you kind of don't want that on there. So,
Did Glock?
Otherwise,
yeah, you're gonna have to go.
off.
Did Glock invent the little trigger dingus thing, or are they just the most famous for it?
They're the most famous for it. I don't think they invented it. To be perfectly honest, there's not a single thing on a Glock that Glock invented. Except, I mean, even their angle isn't original to Glock. Gaston Glock just took a bunch of ideas from other handguns and threw them all together in a pot and said, "Let's see if this works." You look at the handguns history, you see, "Oh, I see where Glock got that. Oh, I see where they got this. I see where they got this." Glocks weren't even the first polymer frame handgun. There's a lot of things that Glock took from other companies, like I said, and different handgun models, and just adapted to their use. Things that maybe their patent was expired or something, along those lines, and cobbled together the first Glock handgun. They still make, but
My first
first
experience.
sizes in California.
My first experience with Glock was the 5th grade. And this kid named Robert, I'm not going to say his last name, he was in my class, and he always brought gun magazines to school with him. And, I mean, he really wasn't one of the most popular kids or whatever, but we sat next to each other, so I was always looking at his gun magazines with him. And I was just looking at the pictures. I didn't know any better. And he would constantly complain about how much he hated Glocks. So it's funny to think back that a 5th grader hated Glocks that bad. I mean, this kid was relentless about how much he hated Glocks.
Sounds to me like that kid was on the right path.
Gary says, like, you couldn't say that about every other firearm company since. Not saying you couldn't. It's just, you do get these Glock fanboys. Not saying you're one of them, but there are Glock fanboys out there that think that Glock did all this original stuff, and they really didn't. And people, I mean, it just annoys me when you get the fanboys out there who are Glock did all this great innovation. Not really. They just copied what everybody else done before and put it all together. They really didn't do a whole lot of innovation when it came to their handgun. They just coupled together something from other people's ideas in the past that they just hadn't got together and put all together before Gaston Glock did. So
Rick, Glock just simplified everything and copied it. That's all they did was they just simplified it and made it easier for the end user.
They were easy to operate handguns for a while. Gaston Glock gets a lot of credit for not doing a whole lot, to be perfectly honest. Are Glocks good handguns? Are they the best handgun to ever come down the pipe? No. What other handguns I'd buy before I bought a Glock? I said before, I can't shoot a Glock for shit because of that grip angle on them and the issues I have with my arm, and I cannot shoot a Glock comfortably. I cannot hit the broadside of a barn with a Glock. It's just other people, they're fine for. I mean, you shoot Glocks 323. I mean, named yourself, you're one of them. I know Gary likes Glocks. She likes Glocks.
I like a lot of different firearms.
You should. So I don't, because I keep it personally for me. I don't like them. If you want to buy yourself,
sorry, I popped out a minute. I heard some smack talk about a Glock, which I missed. So I'm sorry I missed that. Got news from a friend. Another guy's house just got robbed, and thankfully the thieves were dumb enough to leave a duffel bag with their name on it stashed out back because they couldn't carry everything out. And they ended up figuring out who it was. And he was just showing me the video of how the guy was saying he didn't have nothing, this and that. And after a few minutes, he admitted it. And then the next thing you know, there's video of the police carrying TVs out and all types of crap out of their house. So, normal day in New York.
See, I told you, most of your criminals are stupid people.
Yeah, and the guy had his name printed on his duffel bag, lived in the block behind him. So basically just snuck across, ransacked the place, apparently, what the girl was screaming about in the video. So that's pretty crazy. Here, news like that quite often. So wasn't too long ago, a friend of mine stopped a guy breaking in his house and stopped him at gunpoint, and they pulled him out. Police took him out and stuff. Apparently the guy had a long record rap sheet. Of course, he's back out robbing houses, so thankfully he was able to catch him. So 2 young kids in the house and stuff, and the guy was sneaking in towards their rooms off the sunroom. Dang junkies, man.
Yeah, that's the second time I've heard you bring up junkies, man. They must be really bad around there, around that particular part.
Yeah, seems to be. I mean, I can't say this all junkies, but if your stuff ain't nailed down, it's gone around here. So it seems to be the whole town. People would rather steal and con and get a job, is what it seems like. Some guy screaming. I'm shocked. You know, he stopped just a little while ago, but guy's been singing some rap song all day long, like screaming at the top of his lungs. I don't know if he's slow or what, but always walks around in a suit, screaming and stuff, yelling out different lyrics, I guess, or whatever. So argues with everybody on the block. He's a new guy in the neighborhood. I don't know if it's somebody's family that got dropped off or what, but over around the corner, I see him in the backyard beating on the door. I don't think they let him in, so he sits in the yard yelling all day.
Sounds like you need a nice little place out in the country away from New York.
Oh, I do. I do. That was the plan before all this COVID crap started. So now I'm afraid if I pass the New York state line, people might start shooting at me. Gonna have to steal some plates on the way out. Something that doesn't say New York.
Yeah, weren't they? Wasn't it? I can't remember which neighboring state it was from New York, but weren't they like going to have the National Guard or something out, and anybody that they were driving around and found New York plates, they were basically going into the house and stuff and taking them back to New York or something like that?
New Jersey.
No, they were not taking them back to New York.
They were just telling them they had a shelter in place for 14 days.
Yeah, and going around to the areas where basically the vacation areas where people have secondary homes. Basically, if you had New York place, they were stopping, make sure you knew that you're supposed to stay in for 14 days. So, yeah, so I don't know how, I assume it's not the same everywhere, but obviously, it makes it a little difficult, taking a road trip, tracking things out when all this popped off. So hopefully it calms down enough and I continue on my journey to find a better place. So
you gonna go down to Missouri?
I don't know about that. Don't know. We're looking. Shoot, I don't even remember now. Looking at a few different places. So, gosh, I can't even think of the state it was that we were going to go to. We were going to go to a few, but one place we wanted to check out.
Missouri is one of those nice free states.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know much about it. I try to find an area with, work opportunities, not many issues. I know certain places, they got issues with civil forfeiture and a lot of different things. So there's some areas I want to stay away from, some areas of Carolina, things like that. Klan country, I want to avoid that if I can. That was in the state we were looking at. Look for opportunity, but not something too big. I'd prefer to be around less people, so outside of town in a smaller town somewhere. Like it to be set up to where if you're cutting through my yard at 2 a.m, it's already an issue at that point. So versus here where it's nonstop chaos, it seems like, and nobody can do anything about it.
Yeah, I'd definitely say it's time for a change of scenery.
Yeah, when you have drive-bys and murders across the street, it's probably a good idea to start looking for a new place.
Well, I hope it all works out for you once all this other stuff gets settled out. So,
Thank you. Me too. So got that money stashed. Just waiting until I can travel without getting looked at. Did everybody else fall asleep or what?
I'm not sure.
No, still. I'm awake. I don't know about anybody else.
I'm here.
Did Squib have to bail out somewhere? Or?
Yeah, he had to go.
Okay. I didn't know if I pissed him off with that question that I did, because all of a sudden he just commented and then just ducked right out. So.
Which question would that have been?
Oh, that was the one where they were the people going up to, somebody said New Jersey, and to their vacation homes, and the National Guard was out looking for New York license plates and stuff. I just barely caught a snippet of that piece of news here just a couple weeks ago, and I haven't really stayed up on top of any of the news because it's basically sun up to sundown for me right now, and so today was kind of a nice little breather because I finally got out of the field about 2-3 o'clock, and we're switching over to soybeans tomorrow. So it was kind of a nice little respite this afternoon.
I'm glad somebody had a good day.
Yeah, that's not why you. Yeah, that question isn't why Squib left. He had to go. Don't worry, you didn't scare somebody off again, Pat.
Oh, okay. Well, let's put it this way. I don't like making people mad or pissing them off or anything like that, but I don't mind grossing them out.
Well, you're going to upset me if you don't give me 50% of your monthly earnings. So I don't know what you're going for. If you want to keep everybody happy, then.
No, not in that sense. No. Sorry, New York. I'm a pretty nice guy, but not that nice.
All right. Where's your house? How many rooms is it? Let's trade.
No. You couldn't pay me enough to live up that way.
New York,
you want a timeshare in New York?
If he gives you 50, I want 60% of your total.
All right.
And honestly, Rob, around here wouldn't be a bad area for you to move to. If you need work, you could try finding work in West Virginia itself, or you got Virginia to the south that you could work in, where you could still, once you get your permit transferred over to a West Virginia permit, which at the end of May will be free because you're a vet. So you got that going for you. You could work, and then Virginia, as we sit right now, recognizes West Virginia's permit, so you'd be able to carry in Virginia. And it's a small college town where I live at, and the property values are probably half of what you're, as far as price and what you're paying is what you have now. Being up there in New York and with your taxes and everything, property values are probably higher. So, I mean, around here really wouldn't be a bad area for you if you're wanting to get out of New York. I almost said California. I mean, same situation.
Yeah, it seems a lot of places have, housing, things like that are more affordable, but it also seems like the wage is, a lot less than this area. So basically it's trying to do the conversion. How does it all break out in a sense? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. You work construction, right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, there's lots of construction jobs to the south from here in Virginia, and Virginia's not that far. Like Winchester, Virginia is like maybe a 40-minute ride. So it wouldn't be too bad of a commute.
Yeah.
The thing you can get in West Virginia that you're probably not going to find in New York is a backyard.
Yeah.
Nice. I do have a yard. I mean, I got to have barbed wire in it to keep people out of it, but
Yeah.
You have a yard. It's not
Yard.
big.
Big.
Hey, in New York.
Nice.
In New York, you might want to
Now,
change that
do you
barbed
rent
wire. Change it from barbed wire to put
Do you
cloth and
rent
chain.
or own?
Yeah, I couldn't find that on short.
Do you rent
notice.
or own right now, Rob? Yeah, do you rent or own right now, Rob?
Rent. Yeah.
How much you paying in a month?
We've got a screaming deal because we rent from her father. So this is his
Okay.
write-off house. So basically, what is it, like $650? So that's dirt cheap. Normally, you can't get a one-bedroom apartment for that. So that's the only reason why we
we're
pay
paying
here instead of moving somewhere, locally
Yeah.
here because of, we can't beat that price here.
right,
Not even close.
right. How many bedroom?
3-bedroom.
3-bedroom, one or
One
two
bath.
bath. Okay, yeah, it's not too bad. Especially, I mean, that wouldn't be bad here.
Right.
Okay, but I mean, we're paying $711 a month for 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths.
Yeah, it's not bad. And like I said, most people here, you're lucky to get an efficiency apartment for what we pay. But we kind of keep an eye on things. I'm the / caretaker of the place, and it's a family hookup. Like I stated, this is his write-off house to give him the tax break or loss. So doesn't want to sell it or didn't want to sell it because of that fact, because we've already tried to take it off his hands in the past. But I'm actually glad we didn't, because I just end up renting it anyway. But I don't want to stay in the state that long. But it would be a pain having to deal with a out-of-state rental. So it's almost a blessing that it didn't work out.
Yeah, I was just trying to get an idea, the comparison, so you get an idea what like the prices were in this area. Like you could get 3 bedrooms. There's 3-bedroom houses, 4-bedroom houses for like $160,000 or less. I mean, there's some of them are going for less than 100. So I mean, yeah, I don't know how, where you're at. You probably think for that you're probably looking at what, 200,000-300,000.
It depends. In my area, on my street, I think the average is like 85-90 grand a house. But I'm not in the nice
Whereas,
area, so you drive.
you're like in row houses. You're like what,
It's like
row
a
house?
regular suburban neighborhood. I got like, one side I got maybe 10 feet to the next house, and the other side I got a driveway. And the next house is basically, I can stand in my driveway and touch the next house. So
Yeah, the house here like that would, could be in the town itself, and you're looking at 50,000
that's a lot better
for a house like that.
So I was looking to move somewhere, rent for, I don't know, a couple of years, maybe at most 2 years. And basically, as soon as I get there, try to find land and then pretty much build our dream home for state. So,
Around here, that's the exact area I'm at, other than the housing complex we live in, which is townhouses and then 1-bedroom apartments. You get out, and there's how the main, when you get out to where the actual houses are outside outside this little complex here, you're looking like 20 to 30 feet between houses.
Still
so
a
you
bit
got
bigger than here.
and
I mean, ideally, I'd like to be out of city limits. Therefore, I don't have it. Like, I prefer not to see my neighbors out. Burn garbage.
Yeah, we're just outside the city.
Ride a 4-wheeler without getting harassed, or not have to worry about people stealing stuff from my garden.
Yeah, there's places that you could. Yeah, Yeah, there's places around here that have that kind of where you could do that.
I said temporarily for
Most
a couple
houses
years,
around here.
just long enough that I could find a place and start building it. So, time.
Yeah,
Plan
we
on
got
a cabin at some point.
we got houses here where you got houses here where to mow your lawn you can use the push. And there's other places where if you have a rock on the case to mow your lawn, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could either way. You could have a small yard, or you can buy someplace that has a big yard where you can set up your own private range and stuff. There's some farms for sale in this area where you get yourself a farm. You don't necessarily have to become a farmer, but you get a nice house and have lots of land that you can do what you want with it. You get one of the old farms that's for sale.
Yeah, something like that. It's always an option. So I'd rather have more room than not enough. So.
Yeah, but once you're looking at that kind of thing, you're looking more in the $200,000 to $300,000 range. But then you're talking acres of land too, right? So that's to be expected.
Depending on what's on the land, that value itself. So it just depends on what you plan on doing. So.
Hey Rob, what branch of the military did you serve in? If you don't mind me asking.
Army.
Oh, right on. What did you do in the Army?
Basically, my MOS was 52 Delta, so I was kind of what they refer to as a Maytag man of the military. Kind of fix everything. It's not everything. It's generation, or small engines, generators. There's a few different levels of it and stuff. So, but basically, what I went in for and what they ended up having me do were two different things. So, unfortunately, kind of sucks. Certain talents you can't use here. So, what I mean, I was hoping for heating and air conditioning, heating and HVAC. So when I came home, I could basically had more options that I could transition into my business. But like I said, things didn't end up working out that way. But apparently, you can sign up to be whatever you want to be, and once you go through and pass your tests and run through basic, and they evaluate you, they put you where they want you. Is what it seems to be. So.
Gotcha. Well, I just wanted to say thank you for your service.
No problem.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny when you tell people, you go in the Army, you can be HVAC. They look at you like you're crazy. They don't realize like the military has their own HVAC people. They think they contract out to like Carrier or something. It's like, no, they do it themselves.
Oh, yeah, and they got a lot of lot of nice stuff. I mean, you were in, so I don't know, but some of the heaters, you mix two chemicals together that'll run forever. Just about the blower fans, the heat activates the fans. Like, some of the technology is just awesome. How much I'm supposed to say, but some of it's just mind blowing. There's no reason every house can't have its own power plant, in my opinion, except for big government or whatever. But personally, I think every house should have its own, be independent. You wouldn't have to worry about grid down issues or anything like that. It's not that expensive. It's a little different, but it's once you're invested and know what you're doing, I think people would be much better off. Yeah, a lot of things, they just gave us a part to fix and didn't tell us, which is hard because you don't know, it's hard to work on stuff when you don't know the whole machine, you know what I mean? You're only focusing on one part. To me, it seems that way. Somebody hands you one little thing.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. I mean, if you're a radio repairman in the military, you're essentially now a computer repair specialist because the radios are so computerized anymore. It's craziness.
Yeah, it's weird stuff. So
yeah. Again, you'd be surprised how many people think that in the Army, when if you're a radio operator around like the World War II, Vietnam era, backpack radio, it's like, no, you got this little handheld thing that's all run by computer.
Basically a lot of tech now with a lot of stuff. So even in like the little they're not iPads, but the little tablet style things they have now too, so which are almost indestructible and stuff. So there's a lot of nice stuff. I think unfortunately it takes 20-30 years for the military stuff to make it in the civilian world, and some of it I don't think will ever make it because of the fact that the power companies would be against it or whatever, things like that. But yeah, there's a lot of tech out there that I think would do the world some good things, but
the standard radio pack now that the actual radio man, not the rest of the crew, but the designated radio operator has, is a little bit larger than the freaking old school lunchbox. I mean, they're not that. It's not like the old backpack style radios. They're just little things, and it's all computer circuit boards and stuff inside of it.
They always tend to give it to the fastest runner. So you had other plans, but you run too quick, you get stuck with a radio usually.
Unless you were like being were a 31 Charlie, then you were stuck with the radio because that was your job.
Yeah, it seemed like during basic they fit everybody up for different stuff, so it was kind of strange. So shot too good, you went one way, or ran too fast, you were looking at it another way, or you sucked at everything, you were a mine detector. So
We've been joined by Pickle, by the way. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing just fine. How about yourself, Mr. 1%?
Not too bad.
I know I kind of jumped in late, but what was the topic supposed to be? I just, all I heard was, talking about, someone's military service, but I didn't catch whose.
No, we were just talking stuff in general, I think, at this point. We started out, Rob, talking about what he did, and then we branched off into jobs that people don't realize that that the military actually has as MOSs. Like HVAC. You tell a lot of people, you tell them that in the military they have heating, ventilation, and air conditioning as an MOS. They just look at you like you just had a monkey crawl at your ass.
Well, it kind of makes sense because that's where, especially stateside. I heard you make a comment about they think they contract out to Carrier. Stateside maybe they could if they wanted to. Overseas, some places that's not exactly an option.
I know they do have a lot of subs overseas. For a while, I was actually considering possibly doing that. I mean, they were at a time paying window washers like $70,000, which is crazy, but my opinion. So anybody with an actual trade skill, you were valued pretty high. But there were also, a lot of subs getting hung off of bridges and different things at that time too. So, how much is the money worth or whatever. So, but I was basically game, but the lady wasn't having it. So she's not in it to be alone. She wasn't thrilled about the military to begin with, so she's not dealing with me going off for a year or two at a time anymore.
Yeah, she doesn't like it. I'm leaving to an undisclosed location for an unspecified amount of time.
Yeah. Well, it didn't help that I just, one day signed up. So it's like, oh, hey, babe, I got to leave here coming up. So that didn't go over too well.
Yeah, I'll be back in 9 months. See you later.
Yeah.
So, Rich, did you serve too then?
Briefly, before I was medically discharged.
Oh, well, thank you for your service, man. Appreciate it.
You go out
Sorry,
on
I like
Med
that.
20 or Med 40? Or Med 40? Or did you,
What's that?
how was your
What was that,
discharge? Basically, was it, they keep you around and evaluate you for a while? Or was this after you had a bit of time in?
No, this was during basic. I was EPTS from
They
basic.
probably treated you like crap then. But I seen, I went with a guy that was in a bad car accident years prior. He signed up, volunteered anyway, and had knee surgery and stuff. And the guy was giving it his all. He just couldn't do it, you know. Honestly, I got a lot of respect for people like that because they were bad to begin with, came and tried it. And man, the way they treated him was horrible. Like he looked like a broken man, you know, when I ended up seeing him. So they Med 40'd him out. So they kept him around for evaluation.
Yeah, in my case,
it was sad. I mean,
yeah, in my case, I woke up one morning and I had bad nosebleed and a major headache, right? And one of the guys in the bay went and got one drill sergeant who was still there, because this was when it was a period where you only had one drill sergeant at night before you end up where you didn't have any drill sergeants anymore at night, or the drill sergeants went home and slept in their own beds at night.
Totally different experience.
He can't. Really? You didn't? They didn't do that when you were in? That's the way they did it at Denny.
That's the funny part, man. It's like I can't, you know, I can only talk so much about my story because there's some weirdness that happened. I can't go
after
on.
After so many weeks in at Benny, the drill sergeants got to go home and sleep in their own beds at night.
And it wasn't like that at Fort
So,
Knox.
anyway.
We had rotating sergeants. That was we were set off in another area, set aside from everybody else. Apparently, we didn't know it until after the fact.
Yeah,
we can't even find our troop when you try to look.
Yeah, there was one drill sergeant who was on duty in the bay, not in the bay, but in the dormitory building, whatever you want to call it, who was stationed at the main office area. And then, you know, you had your own drill sergeants who was.
You didn't have PQ duty, fire
your drill
watch,
sergeant
all
would
that
go.
crap, getting smoked in the middle of the night, having to change out of three different uniforms in less than a minute, and all this crap, and you didn't go through all
Once you were in like 4 or 5 weeks, they didn't do that shit anymore.
You said you were Army or Navy?
It was like 6 weeks. It was 6 weeks. Army. Fort Benning, Georgia. Not for I wasn't at Fort Benning for infantry. I was in this there for BCT, and But anyway, you didn't get smoked anymore at night. And after 7 weeks, the drill sergeants you had one drill sergeant who stayed. Then they would rotate, like you were saying, where one drill sergeant would stay. That then the other drill sergeants would go. The other two drill sergeants would go home for the night, and then they'd come back in the morning before reveille and get you up and everything, But the drill sergeant that was left, that was on detail that night, was a former medic, right? He was a former combat medic. He had his combat medic's badge and everything. He went and he always had emergency gear in the trunk of his car because of being a former medic. He just carried medical gear with him, like a trauma kit and stuff. And he had his stethoscope and pressure cuff and stuff. He went and grabbed that room pressure, and it was through the fucking roof, right? It was like 200 over 110 or something like that. I mean, it was bad. So I was on my way to get checked out, and that was about the start of my military career right there. After that, they had going to TMC every day to get for those who don't know, that's Troop Medical Center. That's like a little clinic. You go to your clinic to see your doctor or whatnot. But I was going every day for a blood pressure check for a week. And after that, they decided, nope, we're discharging this guy. Well, first he said the PA I saw at the TMC said, I'm going to release you on Monday to back to duty, right? Then he's like, I get up in the morning, and the drill sergeant, what? I forget the guy's name. Was to see the TMC this morning. Shit. Right, so me and my battle buddy, we had us a hike up to the TMC, and then son of a bitch told me over the weekend he changed his mind and he's sending me home. Like, son of a bitch. So I got desk detail for a little bit there, and then they sent me back from Sand Hill at Benning back up to 30th AG to do processing intern until I got sent home. So that was my military career.
Yeah, sounds like Benning's a place to be or something, place to go. It's nothing like that at Fort Knox. So they rotated out. We had at least 4 to 8 at any given time, sometimes more. Drill sergeants in the building, and usually one first sergeant. So, like I said, I didn't know any better, but apparently my experience was a little different. So even when I had family come to base, they couldn't figure out where we were. Nobody on base knew where we were. The whole thing was just a little strange. The craziest thing is people were sneaking in heroin, and the night you come back and trying to think what they call it there. This is the term for it now. When you complete your last year long, you do your last hikes and all that stuff, come back before graduation, like the rite of passage or whatever. They bring you outside, rah rah rah, and all that crap, filing men and da 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 da, give you the speech and whatnot. But needless to say, that got interrupted. MP showed up. Next thing you know, everything's tossed out windows, and we're all lined up outside and they're running through platoons. And thankfully, it wasn't mine because they straight up ass searched everybody in platoons. 2 platoons that were questioned, and they basically, somebody's mom was sending heroin through the mail, and so somebody's mom went to prison, I'm sure, and as well as somebody, a few others. Thinking to myself, out of all the drugs, like, man, we fall asleep standing up. Like, why would you get heroin? Like, that's crazy. Like, like speed or something. So that blows my mind. Like,
all the places to try smuggling heroin into, we're going to smuggle the basic training.
That's nuts. It turned out to be a whole ordeal. And then we had all types of issues. Somebody stole somebody's firing pin. The guy ended up getting court-martialed for that. He lost a sensitive item. We had a few different altercations and issues. So,
you gotta have some cojones on you to try to smuggle heroin into basic training.
I was quite shocked. I mean, out of all drugs, it's not what I expected. So, I mean, that's what they told us. So I don't know. Like I said, we weren't even supposed to look. We were turned around the other way. But nighttime, they got people all bent over on bent over on the Humvee there, just sitting there, Hummer. So, civilian Humvee, the military. So everybody complains when
Humvee. I know what you're talking about.
It was pretty bad, man. I was just like, I was getting ready, Article 15, whatever you want to do, but you ain't sticking no fingers in my, what? I'm sorry. That's not what I signed up for. Like, you want to take blood or whatever, do what you got to do. Keep your fingers to yourself.
And on that note, Midnight has sent these links out, so we're going to start wrapping this up.
Fingers in places, arms over knee, pulling this,
Man, people stole my dirty underwear, so
this was almost
they'll steal anything.
This was almost as bad as
I had somebody steal my I had people steal my BTs. They will steal if they can get their hands on things.
Oh,
They
yeah.
will steal it. Basically, I mean that's a fact of life, man. That's something you just got to deal with. But anyway, Pickle, you didn't get. I know you didn't get to talk about much because of what we were talking about. But anything you want to plug?
No, that's where I don't really have anything to plug. Just a lot of these people, a lot of the other people in the panel have good shows and good videos. Check them out. Oh, that's for one. I will plug is Saturdays at from 3 to 6 p.m. Pacific. G23 has a chat that he's been doing. It's relatively new to the gun channels community, so go check that one out.
Yeah. G23 does a fairly decent show on Saturday nights. If you don't mind being annoyed by a Oregonian, but yeah, check it out. You might like it, might not, but check it out anyway. Rob, anything you want to plug?
No, just thanks for the invite. Appreciate it. Sorry if I bored you.
No, you didn't bore anybody. We just had a good two-way conversation because I don't know if anybody else in here has any military experience or they could relate to what we were talking about.
Squib,
that's how it goes.
Squib probably had some.
Yeah, Squib, but he wasn't here.
Cut out on us as usual.
Yeah, his experience would have been different too because he was a Marine.
Sure, and the time frames.
He could have related to what we
the
were
time and where you're sent. Yeah. So I know I was told at the time Fort Knox was the hardest one they had, which I was like kind of shocked because I went in a little older than the average.
Yeah,
but,
but here's the way that works. Wherever you went is the hardest. You ask somebody,
girls, man.
They will tell you wherever
you went got the
hardest.
We didn't have that. I don't know. Yeah.
What, Benning's in there?
Maybe that is the case.
Benning wasn't in the co-ed when I was there. Yeah, Benning was still males only when I was there.
I heard that's where everybody wanted to go, and they were complaining the first day when they were in Fort Knox. To me, it didn't matter. I'm not, I'm there for business. Every lesson or opportunity is something that might save your butt later. So I wasn't the one to be screwing around. And, without coffee and a dang cigarette, I wasn't the nicest person to hang out with anyway. So perfect for the job.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on now. Anything you want to plug? You there, Pat?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Kids were hollering at me. No, just wanted to say thanks for having me on tonight, and good conversation as always. Interesting conversation as always. And I just wanted to thank the vets in the house here. Thank you for your service once again.
All right. Jason, anything you want to plug?
Everyone have a good week, and it's good to see you tonight, Rich. Thanks for the invite.
Yep, no problem. You're always welcome, sir. G23, anything you want to plug? Or anything else?
Well, my channel was already plugged, so thanks for the invite. Check out Tactical Pickle Calaveras. He has that new scope video series he's been working on. Sub New York Outcast and Kingpin because they don't promote their own channels, and give you a thumbs up on your video stream, I guess.
Rich,
finally,
I'm sorry, man.
Oh, go ahead.
I'd just like to say people should maybe check out Carolina EDC reviews as well. So he was in the chat with G23 the other day. Checked his channel out. Seems like he's got a lot of stuff. Seems like pretty cool dude. So checking stuffs out. Look him up. So Carolina EDC review. All right.
Alright. Now, Kingpin, anything you want to?
Good night, everybody.
Short and sweet, Kingpin wins. I don't know what he wins, but you win 10,000 points, Kingpin.
All right. Nice. In your face.
He gets a cookie.
Apparently, Pat's going to mail you a cookie.
It should be enough to share. I like cookies.
My mailing address is shootingleftofcenter@gmail.com.
Okie dokie. I've got several flavors.
Okay. And
Yeah, I'm going to sleep too. You guys.
On that note, we will bid you all adieu and head over to Midnight's channel for the closer, and Kingpin has left before he got his cue. So, no boosh. Sorry, folks. You can blame Kingpin. And again, send all complaints to shootingleftofcenter@gmail.com. Again, that's shootingleftofcenter@gmail.com. And we will catch you all next week.
All right. Good night, y'all. Have a good one.
How do I turn this damn thing off?
Just pull the plug, man.
How do I put that damn YouTube? Yeah.
Round to the PC usually works well.